Hello, everyone. We will get started in a minute or two after more people roll in. Just a reminder for NFTV, you need to be on your mobile to be able to speak.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, Stardy?
Doing good. How about you?
Good. Yeah. Excited about the men here.
Yeah, great. Okay, let's get started then. Welcome everyone to our creator chat. I'm Starry or Graphene. Nice to meet you all. We won't be able to host the space today, unfortunately, but he will be back on the next spaces. I just wanted to say, since I know he will listen to this later, thank you, everyone, for everything you do on Stargaze. You're amazing, and I'm very fortunate to work with you. And with that, let's first start with the updates for the week. Stargaze has surpassed 10 million stars burned, so big milestone for Stargaze. Month by month, marketplace volume keeps rising. Another good statistic. Live actions and homepage updates are coming very soon, so be out on the eyes for that. Applications for open edition are available. So if you're a creator, please do apply. This minter was created by the Recon team. What it does is it allows you to create a single NFT and a single metadata and mint multiple pieces of that NFT. It also has a limit of time. So, for example, the creator can put for like an hour or a day, and it only be able to be minted for that amount of time. Just a second. Sorry. um, Another update for the week is that mutable contracts are live. So with that, you can now create evolving NFTs, which is really cool. I think it's going to be a kind of feature that a lot of creators will use. Tokenomics update signaling has passed through governance at almost 98% approval rate, so a massive support from the community. It will be a multi-step process. So the first and second step will start on July. Once upon proposal is up for voting too. So Camino Story Writing Platform. It was created by EcoDAP Fabo, and what it does is it allows you to go there, select an NFT, and create a story around it. It's really nice. Sorry guys, I'm kind of rushing. There was a bot issue last week with Cosmos Kiwis. So moving forward, what Stargaze will do is increase the whitelist allocation for the normal minter. We had a feedback from the community, so I think it's going to be 50%. There's going to be other updates to it. So, for example, tiered whitelist, smart whitelist, CAPTCHA, Dutch auction minter, they're all going to be available for the creators. So, just a plethora of options for a fairer distribution. Another issue that was raised is that royalties weren't able to be increased. So this is going to change in the next week. So we're going to submit a proposal for that. There was a Twitter Spaces yesterday to talk exactly about the bot issue, and we also had an introduction with the Espanol community with our co-founder Jorge. So it was really nice. If you guys can check it out. And this week is going to be NFT Brazil. So if you guys are around to meet me here in São Paulo, it's going to be Friday till Sunday. I'm going to be wearing a Stargaze t-shirt. So if you're around, please let me know. And yeah, with that, let's welcome NFT to the spaces. He's our solo artist this week. I also invited Serkan to speak today too. He's our dev from studio, but we will listen to him later. Yeah, hello, Serkan. So, hi Dan, how are you? Welcome.
I'm good, thanks. And shout out to Serkan for helping me along the way with this. It's always a bit of a challenge, but I'm really excited about the collection.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it too. So, can you introduce your project and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So I live in San Francisco. I work as a journalist by day, and then a DJ and music producer. Um, and with a lot of my other time. And about a year ago, I started getting into doing video art and launched a few collections on Stargaze. And originally, my inspiration with the video stuff was to make videos to go with a few collections, NFTVs and turntables and horror synths. And then late last year, I decided that I wanted to make a music video for one of my songs. And so I kind of started thinking about how to do that. And I'm a sample based artist with music. So I thought that how I would do that would be to sample some video clips and then run them through my synthesizers, video synthesizers, the same way I do audio house music. So earlier this year, I got together a bunch of clips around a sleep theme, and then started hacking at them with my video synthesizer. Created a 5-minute full length music video, and then for the NFT collection, T will be a scene from the video or kind of an alternative version of that clip sent through my video synthesizers. So it's kind of the deal.
Wow, that's really amazing. I think that your collection has a kind of different feel to it that everyone can identify pretty easily. So it's really nice. Like you have a kind of signature. Can you tell us a little bit more about your equipment, like what you use, where you got those?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll post some more videos today. And the main video synthesizer I use is called a Sleepy Circuits Hypno. And it's kind of video synth stuff can be very expensive, but this is actually a pretty affordable entry. The synthesizer costs kind of between $400 and $600, depending on whether you want to build it from a kit or buy a completed model. I built the kit model, and it's revolves around a Raspberry Pi, so that was kind of cool. You get to assemble things. But basically, it outputs different video colors and shapes, and you can run different footage through it. And then I have a few other video synth pieces. One is called a sensory translator from LZX Industries, which is one of the biggest names in the video synth market. And that's really cool because it takes an audio spectrum and then breaks it into different, like the lows, the mids, and the highs. And you can send each of those audio parameters to a visual parameter to modulate it. So you can have like the kick drum in your song, like affecting kind of like the color of the, maybe the hi-hats, the higher sounds affecting sort of like making the image like pivot a little bit. And so it shakes kind of on beat. And then another tool that I really like, it's called a Syntony circuit bent video delay, and that creates kind of the effect that you would see on old CRT TVs where there's like color bars that are kind of like shifting a little bit in and out of focus, and that's done by actually like delaying the video signal by like microseconds to create kind of like a color bar pattern. So those are the main things that I've been using for this.
Oh wow, that seems very complicated. Do
It's kind of
you
complicated.
did you use like any coding to do this kind of effect, or is it more of a analog I don't know way of doing things?
Yeah, it's more of an analog way of doing things. And part of what drew me to the video synthesizer stuff to begin with is that one of the ways I make music is using a Eurorack modular synthesizer, which basically sends different voltages to different parameters to create sound. And a lot of that equipment also works with video. So it's sending like kind of the same voltage data, just pure electricity in a way. It's very complicated. It involves a lot of cables and no code. But it's really fun. Get to like, play with a bunch of knobs, and it's really like creatively very expressive.
Yeah, I can imagine. Was this collection harder or easier to create than your past ones?
Um, well, I used Studio for the first time this time, and I found that to be a lot easier than doing it through Terminal with code because I'm not a coder. So this was maybe my fourth or fifth collection. I mean, it's still sort of the week leading up to the launch. I'm still like, staying up way too late and troubleshooting a bunch of things, and you guys are very patient with me on that, and I appreciate that. So I think with this one, basically the music video itself took me maybe about a month and a half to make. And that was a huge project in its own right. I learned how to use Adobe Premiere, which I hadn't really used before, incorporated a lot of the After Effects stuff that I've learned. So it was kind of a two-part thing, like making the actual music video itself, which I'm going to do pretty soon. And then the second half was like, okay, I want to turn this into an NFT collection. How do I do that part? So I don't know if that really answered your question, but it was a little different challenge, I guess. It was kind of a two-part challenge as opposed to the collections.
Right, right. And since you created like a one-on-one collection, what kind of tool do you use to create your metadata? Because it's not a generative art. I think a lot of creators struggle with that part if it's not done, at the same time.
Yeah, so I use Visual Studio Code. And it's like, as I said, I'm not a coder at all, very little technical knowledge. But that program kind of just lays all of your JSONs out like sort of as like a database almost. And it's really easy to kind of like replace fields and like replace, traits in all of the JSONs at once. So yeah, so that's what I use primarily for that.
I see, I see. And about your team, like sleep. What's your inspiration, and how do you recreate with your ear like the characteristics of sleepy music?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so the song itself, I made using a Prophet Rev 2 synthesizer from a company called Sequential that's based in the song. I actually made it while I was taking a sort of jazz kind of piano course through a website called Soundfly, which is sort of like master class for musicians. And the class was held by this beat maker named Kiefer, who's a kind of jazz piano player, beat maker. He's on Stone Store Records. And he was kind of laying out some of the ways he uses harmony and sort of jazz chords and stuff like that. And I'm not a skilled piano player by any means, but I kind of took the cues that he was giving in terms of harmony and chord progressions. And that's how I crafted the song. So it's got kind of a little bit of a moody kind of atmosphere from that. And then some of the electronic processing, like the filtering of the piano stuff, I felt like gave it kind of like a dreamier tone. And then once I started thinking about the visual representation of that, I started kind of thinking about sort of the concept of sleep, and did some digging around at video clips and found these great old commercials from the 60s for sleeping pills for a company whose name I won't use, but they have these really cute little animated commercials that are now public domain. And I ended up sampling some of the audio from those commercials as well as the visuals. So yeah, and then I thought kind of with the video synthesizer stuff, a lot of it's really colorful, and some of the feedback effects kind of have like a rainbow sort of bursts or style to them that gives things kind of like a dreamier kind of state. So I just kind of went with the theme and let it guide me, and had some fun.
Yeah, it really shows. What a personal question. What do you dream about when you sleep? Like, has that influenced you when creating this?
Geez, I haven't really remembered a lot of my dreams lately, which is kind of unfortunate. But did I have any good dreams lately? I don't know. Have you had any good dreams lately?
Oh, me? I can't say.
But I don't. I wish I slept more. That's one thing. I usually am kind of getting about 6 hours a night, and I read a really great book a few years ago called The Science of Sleep, which will scare you straight and make you want to get 8 hours of sleep, because it's really not good for you to not sleep enough.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
Yeah, but I clearly don't take that advice very well.
Yeah, we're always missing time. Um, yeah, so I guess my other question was going to be about, your music background, because we actually met in real life on Southwest,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and for people that don't know, this is like a big music arts tech event that happens every year in Texas. Bandwidth, which was really nice. Like I never been to a concert like that before. So besides piano, do you play any other instruments?
Yeah, so I grew up in Austin, Texas, and I played in bands when I was growing up and all sorts. I was in, emo band, I was in a reggae band, I was in a band that kind of sounded like Talking Heads, and I started DJing and getting more into electronic music and started getting into synthesizers and drum machines and sampling old records. So I started making electronic music with a few different partners, and I've had a couple vinyl releases over the last few years. And I'm not a very good piano player by any means, but I can kind of like hack out a melody and some chords. I'm really more of like a producer in terms of I spend a lot of time in Ableton Live, like kind of, moving around melodies and harmonies and sampling, drum breaks from old records and rearranging them and stuff like that. So I'm kind of like my musicianship. I feel like is not my strongest trait. It's more kind of my ability to like arrange things in Ableton and get creative as a producer, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, going back then to your collection, what's the supply and price, and what metrics did you use to determine those?
Yeah, so there's 66 pieces, and the whitelist, which is active right now, they're 1,555 stars, and then the actual regular mint price is 1,777. And pricing is always like really, really hard to figure out, especially like if you're doing a small collection like this. So I asked the community in a few different tweets and had a poll, and basically the number 1,777 won the poll. But I guess as a personal note, I also kind of thought that was a good ballpark just in terms of, I guess, real talk. I'm planning to use this money to get my dogs teamed, which is very, the money from the mint will go towards my Shih Tzu Peanuts teeth cleaning, which is quite expensive because the dog is old and needs to be put under anesthesia. So the poll numbers lined up correctly to hopefully subsidize my best friend's healthcare, I guess.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. I guess what else? How do you engage with your community? Like, how important is your community feedback to you as a creator? I guess you said that you asked about the price, which I think is great. Like having that feedback, you know, uh, doing something like that. How else do you engage with your community?
Yeah, I try to post videos kind of showing my work. I feel like that's one thing that like with, web 3 and NFT stuff, sort of the maxim like build in public is one that I've tried to embrace, and
Mhm.
kind of tried to show my work along the way. It's been about a year into sort of my journey into video art and NFT stuff. I mean, it's kind of, that is one of the challenges, sort of like upkeeping, staying active on social media and stuff like that. So there have been months where I've kind of, had other life stuff that's gotten in the way, and I haven't posted that much. But I try to, try to respond to everybody and keep a little dialogue going. And it's fun to like do little giveaways and ask people to post music videos, get a little bit like understand people's personalities a little bit more. So I'm also really I really enjoy working with other folks in the Stargaze community. I've done a couple musical collaborations with Maria from Woman from Cosmos, and then also Animated Ink a couple months ago, doing music for those collections. So that's something that is really cool. And if there are any creators who are listening right now who want some music to go with their art, definitely hit me up. I'm very excited to collaborate on stuff like that.
Yeah, awesome. I guess we'll hear from our other our other member, Serkan. Hello there. Hey, Serkan, welcome.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for being here. I
No
know.
problem, but I am not used to being in the spotlight, so let's see if I will bore you guys or not.
No, of course not. I was also very nervous today. I'm sorry, guys. So,
In this one.
can you introduce yourself and your work?
Sure, okay. Well, my name is Serkan. I'm a software developer based in Ankara, Turkey, the capital. I actually studied electronics engineering and initially worked as a systems and test engineer, then as a software developer for different firms, mainly in the defense industry. At some point, I took a break from it, and like soon after, I came into contact with the blockchain ecosystem. I was pretty late to the party. It was late 2021. I started doing research on blockchain technologies, and early 2022, I joined a small team in Ankara, through which I met with the guys at Deos Labs. I'm not sure if you are familiar with them. They were like, when I joined, they were already pretty involved in the Cosmos ecosystem. And they, Orkun and Arda from Deos Labs, they were doing a 2-day workshop in Ankara. And that's what got me hooked to the ecosystem, basically, to the Cosmos ecosystem. And the first team I joined slowly merged into Deos Labs. So I became a part of Deos Labs, basically. Then, okay, I know this is like, I got a bit too personal. I'm sorry. I'm getting there.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Hope I'm not boring you. But I then, well, started developing like little fun smart contracts. I started helping the team with like documentation maintenance on Cosmos. I did some like small updates on a couple of more serious contracts. Then I transitioned a bit to the front end side of things with Juno tools. Not sure if you heard it. It's an interface for interacting with smart contracts on Juno. Then we, with the team, started building Stargaze Studio. And after its delivery, I have been taking part in maintaining it. Well, the team, Deos Labs, has sadly been disbanded not long ago. Huge shout out to them, by the way, Orkun, Arda, Deniz, Furkan, and others. They have been good friends, and I've learned a lot from them. I'm now a member of the Stargaze team and feel very lucky and excited to be among this wonderful group of great people. Thank you, guys.
Oh, I couldn't be more happy with you on the team. Like, you were so helpful, and I always tell everyone on the team how great you are. Yeah.
Yeah, you're also very helpful to me. I appreciate that.
Yes.
We have had some problems on the testnet, but the mainnet launch was okay, I guess.
Yeah, we're up. The whitelist launchpad page is up and running, and I also wanted to say, if I just made a tweet. Anybody who's listening, if you want to drop your stars address on my latest tweet, I'll send you a little present for listening, because I really appreciate everybody paying attention.
I think you can share it here using the share button probably, and yeah, I don't really know. I saw this on the tweet.
I'll do it.
Next time
Okay. Well, go to my profile page and just drop your stars address, and
yes. Yeah, great, really great. Serkan, so Serkan is part of this lab, or was part of this lab that disbanded, but he created Studio, which is the tool that all creators now use to deploy their collections on Stargaze without any code knowledge. Sorry for me. So yeah, Studio is like, good no code dev, no code tool for people that aren't devs to deploy, which is really, really great. I think we reached out to way more creators than we could after Studio was launched. So how did the idea of creating
And Stargaze tools, the command line interface was the only option to create a collection at that point. And in the team, we were thinking if that we could provide a tool that's similar to was in essence similar to Stargaze Studio. It is to interact with Juno smart contracts, basically. And we thought this new tool could make it easier to interact with smart contracts on Stargaze as well. So with this idea, we started working on it. I think it took about like a month or 40 days, and by like late September.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes, it helped like tremendously. Yeah, we're going to skip the next question because I already answered it. Are there any guides to Studio?
There's a guide on how to create a collection using Studio. The documentation needs some.
Yes, for sure. And if anyone has any questions, they can also come to Discord.
Of course, yeah.
Yes, we have a Stargaze Studio Fact Discord, and if it's not enough, then you can talk to Serkan or me personally to ask anything.
So the studio is way easier than the previous one. So just as
Thank you.
Way to launch on Stargaze.
Well, for
the documentations and deploy. Or I think the best way would be to first test on testnet, right?
do it on testnet first, because we are like human beings. We tend to make mistakes, and it should not be on the main net. It should not be on the final version of the collection. So it's better to make a testnet collection first and see how it looks on the launch pads. Then once you are sure that everything is in order, you can do a mainnet launch. That's the best way. You need your assets, basically your images, maybe your you can use your assets in like ready and with their file names in numerical order. You need their file names also should be in numerical order, so Studio can know which assets corresponds to which metadata file. Then you fill in collection details like collection name, description, how many tokens you would like each address to be able to mint, when the minting should start. The create collection button, and that's it. Studio uploads the images, makes the necessary changes on the metadata files, and requests you to sign a collection instantiation message. You sign it, and that's it.
Yeah, it's really easy to use. I think you can create like a collection in 5 minutes if you have all the assets and know all the info you're going to put. It's like filling a form. And what type of functionalities does Stargaze Studio have besides creating a collection?
You can create different kinds of collection, not just one type of collection. There's also there are standard collections, and there have a certain number of tokens in them. But you can create one-of-one collections, and they can even only start into a one-of-one collection. You can create badges and distribute them to maybe participants of a certain event. You can run all sorts of queries to learn more about a certain collection. You can perform actions on a collection, change certain stuff. You can airdrop tokens. You can burn tokens, and so on.
It's a really complete tool for everyone. What are the differences between Studio and Stargaze tool in terms of features? Does one has something that the other doesn't?
Studio has like they're pretty similar, but Studio has a couple of extra functions. Maybe doing a function in batches, like with a single action, you can perform a certain function more than once. They are very similar. Stargaze tools is more like developer of,
Yes.
and doesn't need any prior coding experience.
Yeah, for sure. And we just deployed the mutable code. I think a lot of creators are curious to know how can.
So it's quite easy. Like 3 steps of a collection contract can first migrate and start point to the new updatable collection code ID. That's the first step. And then enable updatable action on Studio. So you first migrate to the enable metadata updates for that collection, and that costs at the moment 500 stars. Updating token metadata can be done in batches as well. So you can just to IPFS, then you can easily update all of your collections metadata.
I see. Yeah, that's great. For questions, if anyone wants to ask a question for NFTV or Serkan here, please request to speak. Meanwhile, I guess I'll ask NFTV, what do you think is the biggest, positive point of Stargaze for new creators?
Well, I think that the fact that it's a really small, or not really small, but a smaller and more dedicated community is really great for new creators. And it's very different than just like throwing up a collection on OpenSea and just hoping for the best. Like I feel like with other marketplaces, they're so sums and big like kind of corporate plays and things like that it's hard to actually like and kind of like get noticed. Whereas I feel like the Stargaze community is really like passionate about supporting them, and like it's like really been awesome to see how much people like actually care and enjoy the art. And so I'd say like Stargaze's biggest strength is probably like that it's a more intimate and kind of more community focused marketplace.
Yes, I agree with you. What was your biggest challenge when launching this collection or the other ones?
I think the other one's the technical aspect was a big challenge for me. I probably before starting to work on my Mac like 3 or 4 times, and now have hundreds of times. So I think that before the studio technical challenge was the biggest. I think on this collection in particular, I think the biggest challenge was, well, I basically learned how to make a music video. That was kind of figuring out kind of like pacing and timing and how to get all of the scenes to ways was a big challenge from and I guess part of it also stems from kind of where people put their attention and how to get people to kind of pay attention to the words you write or the music you make. And one of the ideas behind this music video project was like, well, I want people to listen to this whole song. How am I going to get them to like, there's a million other things they could be looking at or listening to or reading. Like, how do you get someone to like pay attention for 5 minutes to a instrumental song? Figuring out, with a variety of different like clips, video clips, and then affecting them so that they react to the music, to pay attention for a few minutes, and the full the rest of his clips. But the YouTube, I'm going to post the YouTube link once the collection sells out, and so everyone can see the full video.
And do you have someone that has no experience but wants to start a new collection?
Yeah. I would say kind of start chatting in the Discord. That when I started out last year, that was a really great resource for me. I would say the test net, like with the tools sometimes if you haven't before, but like I think so just like one piece of art that you're wanting to an inspiration for, just try and make a test net and then go through the steps and get something up on testnet, and then you'll see, hey, it's not that scary. I kind of did it. Now I just need to like make a bunch more of these and flesh out the concept. And like I would say not to be afraid of the technical aspect would be my.
I don't even know where to begin, but once you get to know Studio, facilitates that 100 times more than it was before. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would also say, like, I think a great creative suggestion in general, like, as I said, I work as a writer, and it's like your first draft is always going to be bad,
Ooh.
and when it comes to music, I spend hours and hours and hours moving like the kick drum sound like a millisecond to the left, and like, oh, does this cymbal need to go here? Does it need to go like one beat further? Like, I mean, blah blah blah. But like the and it's just kind of I feel like sometimes my music making process, it feels like I'm like pruning a bonsai tree. I'm just like making tiny edits until it gets to a point where I'm happy enough with it to share with people. So don't be afraid of things sounding or looking bad when you start off, because they're going to, even for the people who are the best in the world at what they do, their first drafts are still usually unreadable or garbage, basically.
Yeah, I think that applies to any kind of art, right? You're not born, I mean, maybe some people, but most don't have the innate talent yet, and they, iterate it day by day, and it gets better and better, and that's how art really is.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you can be a perfectionist, but like it's not going to be perfect at first, no matter how good you are.
Serkan, what can we expect in the near future for Studio? What are you working
I think all right. I think integrating a typeform survey to gather feedback from creators is in the list. Uploading assets and metadata, that was a recent feedback. And also, I think it would be nice if we made available to export like collection configurations from testnet, so it can be seamlessly used on the mainnet, because when you are like satisfied with your collection on the testnet, you can, if it was available, you could just save that configuration and import it on the mainnet version, and click on the button, and that would be it. That I think that would be a good improvement, and maybe Studio can support more wallets than Kepler. It's only a Kepler wallet at the moment. We can add some more.
on? Okay, those are great. Thank you so much. Excited to see all of those come in place. Does anyone have any questions for NFT Studio or Serkan? Please request to speak. Do you guys have anything else to say? Closing thoughts, maybe? NFTV?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just want to again say thank you to the Stargaze team. Everyone's really helpful. And I would suggest, if you're an artist who's thinking about doing a collection, reach out to them, and they'll help guide you and give you some feedback. And yeah, so everyone's great. And I also really appreciate everyone. It's really been awesome in terms of just getting so much feedback from people and encouragement. And yeah, it's a big thank you to everybody.
Yeah, thank you too. Last words.
It was great to be with you guys. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Oh,
Serkan.
one thing, give out the audio stems for the songs to anyone who mints, so you can remix it or sample any of the parts from the song in the music that you make. So yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. How can people request that?
So with my one of the last collections I did was I released an EP, Stargaze, and I did like a gated thing on my Discord channel with a download link from. But if my Discord is not super active, unfortunately, but I can also just kind of like, if you're really excited about it, send me a DM and I'll send you the link before I get the gated thing figured out.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you, everyone. Happy week. Happy rest.
Thank you.